universally across the board. And that is that we are all Atma. And Atma means an eternal soul, spirit soul. And it is said that the Atma is composed of these three elements of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. That it is eternal, it is conscious, and it is joyful. It is inherently joyful. So this is a universal thought which is accepted in every system of philosophy, religious practice that you find in the Veda. And so there's also the understanding that here in this world, we are under the influence of outside forces, outside energies. And there's the recognition that at present, this Atma is covered by not only the physical body, but also the subtle body. And then this is something I really appreciate, because you find in a very scattered way this idea of some mystical, subtle side of life. You find this in many systems of thought, but in the Veda it is explained in a very clear, detailed, and systematic way. And so it is described that in this world is comprised of 8 elements, right? That there are 5 physical gross elements of earth, water, fire, air, ether. And then we were discussing this yesterday, I think. Yeah. And then also 3 subtle of the mind, the mental plane, the intellect, and then also the ego, the sense of identity that is called ahankar. Do you understand something? Or you understand? Okay, everyone understands. And so, when I read, there's one scripture, Bhagavad Gita, I think most of you have heard of, or perhaps also read that book, Bhagavad Gita. When I read Bhagavad Gita, I feel like I'm taken aback, because I feel the knowledge is so clear. I feel like the dust on a mirror has been wiped away, and I have a very clear picture. It feels kind of like in our mental system, there are all these like shadows and feelings and thoughts and emotions that kind of like just float around. But when I read Bhagavad Gita, I feel like a flashlight is being shined on my mental system, and I'm being given a very clear picture of this is coming from there, right? This is coming from the mind. This is coming from the ego. This is coming from the intellect. It's very, very clear knowledge. And so it's helping us come to that essential question of who am I? Right? This is the first question, actually. In this world, especially in this modern age, it's very easy to run around all day, trying to achieve many things, do many things, and we forget that first fundamental question, right? Who am I? Why am I here? And so the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of the Vedas, helping us to remember, right, these fundamental, essential questions. So we can have a little discussion maybe of these different layers of the material energy, because the situation at present, this is described in the Vedas, is that we are Atma, but the problem is that we don't feel that at present. When we look in the mirror, we identify with that image in front of us, right? So this is the problem that is discussed in Bhagavad Gita. This is the whole purpose of yoga, right? How to become free from that identification with the temporary self, right? And how to connect with that plane of Atma. And so we have this physical plane, the gross physical plane, this body and the objects of the senses. And then the next layer, more subtle than that, are the senses, right? The sense of sight, touch, taste, sound, smell. And these senses are collecting information from the environment and depositing it into the mind. Then the mind is the next element, manas, above the plane of the senses. And the mind is acting in the function of accept and reject. Right? The mind likes or dislikes, right? The mind is what decides this is a friend, this is an enemy, right? This tastes good, this tastes bad. And so the mind has this binary nature. And so therefore it can get us into trouble. The mind tends to make these, instant reactions, like, dislike, good, bad. And so if our mind is if our mind is out of control, then we can make ourselves sick, right? We eat things we're not supposed to eat. We take intoxication, which is making us very sick. And so then next above the mind is the plane of the intellect, right? The buddhi. And the intellect is what is helping us to discriminate. So the intellect will tell us, oh, maybe this medicine tastes bitter, this medicine doesn't taste good, but it is good for me, right? Or the intellect will say, oh, this hamburger tastes very good, but it's going to make me sick, it's going to increase my cholesterol, so better I don't eat it, right? So this is the intellect has the power of discrimination. And if we sit quietly within ourselves, then we can notice all these different elements within ourselves, right? And nowadays, this practice of mindfulness is very popular, right? Because people can sit and actually feel themselves and feel all these different patterns playing out and find who is the I, who is the real me within, right? So then that's the intellect. This is a more subtle. This is still within the plane of matter. According to the Veda, the intellect is an expression of subtle matter. Then the most subtle is the ego, the ahankara. This is the most subtle of the material elements. And this is it's very difficult to detect that because it's so fundamental to our existence in this world. The ahankara means our sense of identity. So it's very subtle energy that causes us to identify with the way that we look, to identify with our birth, with our country, with different social causes. Right? We may have many different belief systems based upon our sense of identity. That I'm male, I'm female, I'm transgender, I'm white, I'm black, I'm American, I'm African, Chinese, Japanese, whatever it may be, right? I'm a socialist, I'm a Republican, or whatever it may be, right? The ahankara, the sense of identity. This is right at the foundation of our mundane existence. And this ahankara, it's also to explain like all of its different functions. We could say it kind of encompasses the ideas of the conceptions of I, me, and mine. So there's the I, right, who we think we are. And then tied in with that also is what we are doing and what we are achieving. And then there's also this possessiveness that's attached with that also. So the mind, right? And in fact, the word ahankara, what it means literally is aham karo, means I do. So this conception of being the doer, this is also tied in with the ahankara, right? So that this is who I am, this is what I do, and this therefore belongs to me. Right? And so this is one of the first teachings of Bhagavad Gita, that you are not the doer. And this is something that puzzles people. What do you mean I'm not the doer? I'm doing things all the time. I woke up, I went to work, I did my job, I take care of my family, and therefore everything, all the results of that belong to me. Right? I put that energy out there, and so the results of that belong to me. So obviously I'm the doer. What do you mean I'm not the doer? But Bhagavad Gita explains that actually, for any event to take place, there are so many factors involved for that to be possible. Right? If we take a simple example, if a farmer plants some tomatoes in the ground, then plant some tomato seeds, then they take care of that plant, take care of that seed, and then eventually some tomatoes will grow, and then the farmer will think, oh, these are my tomatoes, I own these tomatoes, and I'm gonna sell them, and nobody else has any rights over them. They belong to me. But think about it. What did that farmer actually do? Right? They planted some seeds in the ground. But did they create that whole force of nature that allows for the germination of that seed? Right? Did they create the sun, which is also a major factor in the growth of that plant? Did they create the moon? Did they create the rain, the earth, the billions of bacteria in the earth, which are also involved in the growth of that plant? Right? So there's like thousands of different factors that are involved that will enable the growth of that plant. Right? But so this is the ahankar. This is the ahankar. It causes us to have this very narrow vision. And so we just see you could think of the ahankar as like this noise that it drowns out everything else and everyone else, and we just hear our own voice and we just see what we're doing. But actually, even for me to pick up this water bottle, for me to take a sip of water, I'm thinking, oh, I picked up the bottle, I drank the water, but there is actually so many processes, so many forces of nature involved, like hundreds if not thousands, right? Within the brain, within the muscular system, the force of gravity, all the chemicals that allowed for that water to be formed. There's thousands of different factors involved in that simple action of drinking a little water, right? So many systems in my body. So this is the nature of the ahankar, drowns everything else out. We just see I, me, and mine. There's a very nice line by one of our gurus, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he says, how does the Sanskrit go? Ud Buddha Swarupe Swabhava Karpanyam. He says that the nature of the enlightened soul is to be humble. It is the nature of the enlightened soul, of the awakened soul, to be humble. Why? Because the noise of their own ego is quietened down, right? And they're living within the cosmos, right? They're living within eternity, and they're seeing the contribution of so many other entities, so many other beings, right? And so this is a major aspect of illusion, right? The ahankar. And our teacher, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he gave another very nice explanation of the ahankar, which I like very much. He said, the ahankar is like a machine which is receiving and transmitting false information. A machine that is receiving and transmitting false information. Oh, okay. I think everyone's probably memorized it by now.
By now. Yeah.
Okay. So I like this very much. A machine that is receiving and transmitting false information. And he used another analogy too, of the black box that they use on airplanes and some other vehicles that's keeping like a record of everything that's taken place in the journey, right? And so we can also think of our ego like that. It's like this black box where we're keeping a record of everything that we've experienced, right, in our previous lives. Because this is also another part of the Vedic teachings, right, that our Atma, our soul, according to the course of its karma, is moving through many different births, many different life forms, and having so many different experiences of reality, right? So all of these different experiences, they're forming different prejudices, right? They're forming different filters, which are creating a particular viewpoint, right? So we all look at reality, or so-called reality. We look at the world around us. We look at our environment with our own unique set of filters. And inevitably, this also sets us up to have some conflict. because everyone has a different set of filters, right? Everyone's had a slightly different journey, slightly different set of experiences. So we have different prejudices, different preconceptions. And so we're all looking at things in a slightly different way, or very different way. And of course, this means that at times there will be conflict. And then the most extreme expression of that is war, unfortunately. And of course, and then, I like to use, rather than saying illusion, I actually prefer, the word illusion is nice because it captures people's attention. But what I prefer more is to think of it like this, that there's temporary truth and there's eternal truth. That there's permanent truth, or we use sometimes the terms absolute and relative. So, because we don't want to undermine anyone's version of reality, right? It's like if someone's going through a difficult time, and you just tell them, "Oh, you're an illusion." It's not very helpful. But we want to acknowledge. Everyone just wants to feel understood, right? So we can say, "Okay, I acknowledge how you feel." Right? And there's some value to that. There's some degree of value to that. But here's a bigger way of looking at it. Right? Your viewpoint is only helpful up to here. Your version of reality, your interpretation of reality is only helpful and relevant up to a very limited point. So, so for example, I may say, "Oh, I'm born in USA, I'm a female, I have brown hair." This is true in this moment of time. But within eternity, it is just like the blink of an eye. It is a very temporary truth. And so real truth seekers, we want to ask, what is that absolute truth? What is that truth that is relevant in all times, all places, all circumstances? And now I am living in the midst, somehow or other I brought myself within the midst of so many relative and temporary truths. But what is that absolute truth? What is the eternal truth that will be the most beneficial, the most uplifting, which is the most relevant to me as an eternal soul, within eternity? And so this point will come in the life of a sincere seeker. I don't want to live my small version of truth anymore. I don't want to live in my tiny little world anymore. But I want to join the universal flow. Right? I want to join the current of eternity. I want to be a part of the bigger picture. So, how can I do so? Then this is the question. How can I become free of my identification with my tiny version of reality? Because it's easy to say, oh, I understand that I'm the soul, but the practical truth is I believe that I'm the body. And I feel that I'm the body. And all of my immediate circumstances that are surrounding me, I believe in them, and they're causing me stress. I'm stressed out, right? Because of my job, because of my family, because of my friends, because of my debt, right? Or whatever it may be. That's the actual truth. I can read Bhagavad Gita and I can say, oh yes, this is all very nice. This all makes sense and I like it. But the practical truth is it's not a part of my life right now. I don't feel that I am an eternal, blissful, conscious being. I don't feel that. I don't identify with that. Right? So then this is the next question, like how can I actually realize that? How can that actually become my reality? Right? Not just a beautiful story that I hear about, but how can it actually become part of my reality? So how can I transition from illusion or from temporary truth to absolute truth? In one of our scriptures, there's this expression, Vastava Vastu, means the real reality. How can I begin to live within the real reality? How can I begin to live within eternity? Then this is the question, right? And then within the Vedas, there are lots of different answers to that question also. And we can say that, broadly speaking, there are two main approaches to this question. And we talked about this a little earlier, that there's, I like very much the American writer Mark Twain. He said, when it comes to religion, India is the millionaire. Because there's really so many different ideas, so many different discussions. But when it comes to, solving this main problem, how to become free from material identification, all of these different lines of thought can be categorized in two ways. Right? And one of those lines of thought, it is called Aroha Panta. And Aroha Panta means the path of ascension. And that refers to raising ourselves up by our own endeavor. And so the general yoga systems, they are in this category, right? Through austerity, through meditation, through strict spiritual practices, sadhana, we can gradually become free of our identification with matter. And we can begin to feel the Atma, the soul within ourselves, as well as the Paramatma, the supreme soul. And so by our own effort, our own strength, our own endeavor, we can gradually become free. So this is one line. And then there's another the second category, it is called Avaroha Panta. This word Avaroha, it is the same root as avatar. Everyone knows the word avatar. I met with, last year I did some classes at a university in California, and one of the professors told me that the students were shocked when their teacher told them it's a Sanskrit word. They thought it's an English word. Everybody knows the word avatar. But the original meaning of avatar is actually one who descends. And it is referring to avatar is referring to a manifestation of divinity descending into this world, right, to help the people of this world. So this word avaroha is the same root, and it is referring to what is descending. So avaroha panta means the descending path. And what it means is that we are depending on making progress by what is descending from above. So it is actually just the opposite from the aroha panta, the path of self-ascension. Because in the aroha panta, one is depending on their own power, their own strength, their own effort. But in avaroha panta, it's just the opposite. That one is depending upon the descent of divine grace. And so the bhakti paths, or the paths of devotion, right, they are included within this category. And so here there is recognition of there being a conscious divine source. And there is an emphasis on opening of the heart and establishing a heart connection with that divine source. And in our case, we are devotees of Krishna, so we call that divine being Krishna. Krishna means who is all attractive. Krishna is the lovable, charming, most approachable form of the divinity. And so in our vision of things, there's a conscious overseer, right? It's not that, like in some lines of thought, there's a conception of there being like a battle between good and bad, right? Satan and versus God and all of this. But in our conception, everything is under some order, right? And there is one supreme, divine, loving overseer, and everything is taking place under his guardianship, under his management. And so then also the power of illusion, and we use the word Maya in Sanskrit. Probably many of you have heard that word. Maya is referring to this energy. No, welcome.
Hello.
Maya is the name that is used for this energy, which causes this identification with the self, which, is a part of this world of ahankara, the false sense of self, the false ego. And another interesting point, in the Vedas, everything is personified. Everything is personal. Everything is personal in the Vedas. So the sun, the sky, the earth that we walk on, like there's a deity, there's a deva, there's a personal God that is behind everything. And so this power of illusion is also, its source is a personal goddess, Maya Devi. We also see her as a worshipable being. She's just doing her job. Like we said yesterday, our friend Mariana, is it?
Me? Maria.
Maria, okay, sorry. She works in quality control for a pharmaceutical company. We can also think of this Maya, this energy of illusion, as a type of quality control, to help the souls, become purified, move closer to their higher self. It shouldn't be so easy, right? There should be a little bit of challenge. And so this energy of Maya helps us, to really, really affirm within ourselves that this is what I want, right? That I don't want that lower thing, but I want that higher thing. That is one way that you could see this, right? So anyway, this power of illusion in the Vedic conception is also a personal entity. Everything is personal. Everything is conscious from the Vedic conception. And so therefore, from that angle of vision, we can say that Maya has a boss, right? She's not independent. She's not acting independently, but she's also following some direction. And so in Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse where Krishna speaks about this. Jaivi Yesha Gunamayi Mamamaya Duratya Mam Eva Ye Prapadyante Vayametam Tarantite. He says that this Maya, this energy of illusion, is almost impossible to become free of. It's a very powerful energy in this world. Very, very difficult to overcome it. But however, he says, if somebody surrenders to me, then very easily they will become free. Because she's not alone. And Krishna says, Mama Maya. Mama Maya means my Maya. She's working for me. She's not working for herself, she's working for me. So if somebody comes to me with love, if someone offers themselves to me with love, then very easily that energy will move away, will leave them. And another way that we can see this is that this energy of illusion, it is kind of like a way of, what was the way I explained it the other day? It is like, it's a way of keeping some level of control within a chaotic environment. Right? Because what is this world? This world is a world of desire. This is a world where everyone is filled with endless desires. But if everybody had the ability to fulfill all their desires at every moment, this world would be 1,000,000 times worse than it is today, right? If every fantasy, every instinct, every little desire that we had could be fulfilled at any moment, the world would be completely upside down, completely a mess. If everybody wanted to be if everyone wanted to be a billionaire, everyone could be. If everyone could be the emperor, the king of the world, everybody can't be the king of the world at the same time. Right? So this energy of illusion and also the law of karma, they help to keep some order, some control within a mad world. Within a world of selfishness. Then the law of karma and also the energy of Maya, illusion, they help to keep some order, some control in a world where everyone wants to be independent. So this is a world where everyone's living in their own universe. Everyone had, like in America, they used to have television shows, right? Like what was that one? Like so and so's world, and you must know some of them. What was that famous one? I can't remember now. But they're famous television shows like so and so's world, right? Vishakha's world, Wayne's world. That's what I'm thinking of.
What did you say?
Wayne's world. That was a famous American show. But it's like an idea that you find, so-and-so's world, right? So everyone has their own world going on. And everyone is a little bit in conflict with everyone else, right? And this is a little bit of another discussion, but we can also understand that this is the roots of fear and anxiety in this world. Fear and anxiety is the outcome of living within an isolated, independent world. Because we feel that the environment is against us. We feel that the environment is not supporting our version of reality. So this is the nature of this world. It is a jumbled world where everyone has their own version of reality, right? However, and all of those realities are based on temporary truth. However, there's another world, there's another version of reality. where there is the awareness of a divine center. That is the eternal world, where there is a divine, loving, conscious, personal center. And that is a world of absolute harmony. It is we could take, like the musical term harmony, right? There are so many different instruments that are playing, but they're all tuned to one conductor. So that is the nature of the spiritual reality. And so when someone steps out of their small world and says, oh, I want to be a part of that bigger world, right? I want to be a part of that universal system. I want to have my small part to play in that universal dance. When someone makes that affirmation within themselves, then they will become free from illusion, because they're no longer operating according to their own individual selfish concepts. But I want to be a part of the universal flow. I want to be a part of the universal dance. I want to surrender, not just be a part of it, but I want to give myself. I want to surrender myself in love to that higher reality. Then when someone makes that affirmation within themselves, then the power of illusion will withdraw from them. The power of illusion in this world is actually helping us, because actually we want to have our own version of reality. And so Maya, illusion, is helping us to do that in this world. So all we have to do is make that declaration, right? I don't want to live in my small world anymore, but I want to be a part of that greater, bigger, beautiful, harmonious world, right? I want to join that universal dance. And when we make that declaration, then this transition will take place. You know, we are following the practice of bhakti yoga, and so in bhakti yoga we also have many practices which are helping us, you know, to make that connection with our divine source. And we started off with kirtan. You know, this is described. This practice of kirtan is described as being the most powerful method for awakening the true self and connecting with our divine source in this age. I don't know if anyone has any comments or questions at this time. I've been speaking quite abstractly, I think. I hope something came through.
Can I ask a question? I was wondering, how come material energy, Maya, because the consciousness is an indicator of soul, right?
Mm.
So the consciousness belongs to spiritual nature, right?
Mm.
So how come Maya is affecting consciousness if they cannot, like in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the soul cannot be burned or teared apart, yeah, right? So how come Maya can influence and affect consciousness?
Oh, nice question. Could everybody hear the hero of the hero question? Well, I would say that what you said is absolutely correct. We can think of it as a covering. Like Mahaprabhu gives the analogy of a mirror that is covered by dust. If you look at a mirror covered by dust, you just see the dust. But if you just take a cloth and wipe it, then you'll see underneath the mirror is bright and clean. So, and I would say in a simple sense, it is like that. You know, the soul is clean, the soul is bright, the soul is pure, the consciousness, right? But it is just covered by the dust of the material energy. But when that dust becomes clear, then that bright self will shine again. Right? And that's that's how Mahaprabhu explains this in the Shikshashtakam, right? Cheto Darpana Marjanam, right? The mirror of the this is the power of kirtan, right? That it will clear the dust of mundanity from our consciousness. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj also explains there that this dust, what is this dust actually? This dust is referring to our tendencies for exploitation and renunciation. These are both unnatural. The tendency to exploit as well as the tendency to renounce. These are both unnatural. But the real nature of the soul is to give, to dedicate, to love. This is normal, wholesome, and natural for the soul. And so these tendencies to exploit or to renounce, to reject, they create this like dust, which covers obscures our consciousness. And then this is the power of kirtan, that it can clear that, can purify that. Does that answer your question?
I can understand for what you said. One of the reasons, of the conflicts of this world is when you spoke about everybody has his own reality, his own understanding about the world. So when that it comes, everybody has his own consciousness of his own reality. There is a conflict between each other. Like Prabhupada is giving the example, when you throw some stones in a lake. Right? If everybody throws a stone in the same place, the waves that creates is harmony, right? But if everybody throws the stones in different places, so there is a conflict of the waves. So this is what's happening nowadays. Everybody has his own understanding of his own reality as absolute, which is a big illusion. It's good what you actually. I got inspired for what you say. Maya is a way of to control this world. Otherwise, we'll be very chaotic. So it's a good analogy.
So what you're saying, the world peace is not possible. It's like how to have a peace when we have different desires, like, opposite sides in the world, they have a desire. So we have to have like some mind that can satisfy everyone, so peace is not possible.
Well, from my understanding, peace is possible when we come to that to join ourselves with Supreme Consciousness, because this is the harmonious way of living life.
Prabhupada had one sloka from the Gita for the peaceful world, Bhaktavan, Gita Prasam, and you can expound on that.
Oh yes, that's verse Bhaktaram Yagyata Prasam Sarvarupa Vekvaram Surya Yat Panam
Peaceful.
Yeah, the peace formula.
Can you elaborate? Yeah, I couldn't hear what they were saying. Can you repeat that? What they were saying about?
You can say, you can say,
Yeah.
she knows the verse.
So we have a question: how is world peace possible? Is world peace possible? And so our senior friends here, they're reminding us this is a verse in Bhagavad Gita. And one of our teachers, Prabhupada, he called this the formula for peace. And the verse is spoken by Krishna, and the verse mentions these 3 points. And he says, if you can accept these 3 principles, then you will experience peace. And so the verse, Bhoktadam Yagyatapasam Sarvalokam Maheshwaram Sudridam Sarvabhutanam Yatvam Shanti Vichati. And so the first point is that we must accept that we are not the center of reality. That there is a higher reality, there's a higher center. We call that center Krishna. And that, in a simple way, you could say that we are not the main character of the film. Right? We're supporting characters.
Extra.
We're extras. We're supporting characters. So if we can conceive of our world like that, where I'm not number one, and that everything, because normally, right, we all have our own agenda. Like just as a simple example, I hung my laundry on the line and it started to rain. Then maybe I would be angry. Oh, why is it raining? I just hung up my clothes. I'm angry because I'm thinking reality should revolve around me. Why should it revolve around me? The farmers in the field, they'll be very happy. Oh, it is raining. Now my crops will be nourished by the rain.
I don't need to work to garden, to water the plants.
Right. So I'm angry because I'm thinking the weather should revolve around me. So if I change that thought, if I understand I'm not the center, there's a higher center, that reality is moving around another center, then I will be peaceful. There's no need to be in anxiety. There's no need to be upset, right? So that is one point. And then the other point is to have the faith that there is an overseer, there is a manager, right? And we call that manager Krishna, God, right? That he is in control, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, that all planes of life, all persons, they are all under the guardianship of this divine being, this divine source. So in other words, there are no accidents. Everything, there's some order, there's some purpose behind everything. And this can be very difficult. This is like a type of bitter medicine, you could say. That, everything that happened to me, it was, it's not that it was some accident, but there's some purpose for it. That can be very difficult to acknowledge, right? And of course, a part of the background understanding of that is the principle of karma. Right? That everything that's coming to me, I have created myself. So I cannot blame anyone. I'm not a victim. Right? I cannot blame anyone, but I have to take account. I have to hold myself accountable for everything. So there is some force in control. There is some order behind everything. There's some purpose behind everything. And then the last point, Suhridam Sarvabhutana, means that supreme being, Krishna, is friendly to us. He's not our enemy, right? It's not that there's just like a mechanical system of karma, which is dispensing everything in this world. But there's also love behind that. A mother may have to slap their child, but that's coming from a place of love. That's coming from a place of loving correction. So to see that there's some purpose, there's order, there's behind everything, and there's also love behind that. There's also affection behind that. So one can embrace these principles, that everything is for the pleasure, everything is for the satisfaction of a higher center, that I am not the center, that everything is for that higher center. Then to have the faith that there's order, purpose behind everything is under some higher control, and there's also love and affection behind that. If we can embrace these three principles, then we will experience peace in our life. Sometimes it can be very difficult to acknowledge these things. But to make real spiritual progress, it takes courage, actually. It takes courage, and there will be some pain involved. Growing pains. Right? we don't want our gurus, our teachers, they don't want to give us simple band-aid solutions, but they want to give us real solutions, not just solutions for this moment in our lives, not just a solution for this lifetime, but a solution for our eternal existence, right? As eternal beings in this world. This is what the scriptures and the saints are trying to give us. So there will be some challenge involved, but it is also a sweet challenge, a sweet struggle in good company and with sweet practices.
Actually, this verse it leads to another important verse in the Bhagavad Gita, which all of us we know, Sarvada Brahmite Jamame Kamsarana Braja, Kamsarana Putego, Moksha. You should abandon all types of philosophy and speculation and religion and just surrender to me. And immediately I will be revealing all the truth to you. So these things, they are very important, in order to achieve peace in life, in the world. Otherwise, everybody has his own philosophy, his own understanding about life, his own understanding about his own reality. And then the conflict is inevitable, is there.
Does anyone else have any comments or questions or anything at all?
Actually, today, there's, like I told, there is this summit about talking about peace in the world, about the Ukrainian war, there is today in Switzerland.
Right.
So all the 7 countries, the most G7, they are just together just to find the peace formula for the world. If they know this, if they know the Bhagavad Gita, they can come with a solution. I don't know what kind of solution they will come.
It's only 7 countries
Yeah, the 7 countries, they talk
to
today.
decide for all of us? Not fair.
Yeah. Well, the so rich countries, the powerful countries, they will decide to try to get. No, they are trying to coming to a peace formula actually today for Ukrainian war.
Should we do some more kirtan now?
It's so beautiful. So they try to find the peace, and they already told about it and explained it. So how many thousand years ago? And also in the Bhagavad Gita, it's written, it's described how we can have peace, but they still don't know. And what's written in the Bhagavad Gita? So it's how old it is. It's based on the Vedas, so it's very, very old, but it's still up to date. Our mind is so hard as a stone, it's so difficult to us to learn, and so it's very important. The old scriptures.
Cows that are kids.
That's also what you told in the beginning. You read the Bhagavad Gita, and it was just like taking a shower, because it's still up to date, what's written in it, and we still can use it. We recognize everything. And what's happening now today in the world, it's already written in the Bhagavad Gita, because it's also was happening thousands of years ago. Now,
Same old stuff.
yes, it's old stuff.
Story.
So we're not going to be able to change it as long we are on planet Earth, I guess, because this planet is a place of hypocrisy and
It's all based on ahamkara, the ignorance.
We can also see this world as like a kind of hospital or correction house. This is the place for the souls to become healthy. And once they're healthy, they will be released. Right? So this isn't the world for the perfect souls, right? So
Prison house.
this world will never be perfect. It's not the nature. This is like the place of transition. Souls are transiting through here. It's a transit station.
So our gurus say that we must also cross the ocean of miseria. And so we will have a lot of problems we will meet and difficulties. But we must overcross it to be on the other side of this world.
Vishakha, you touched that, you said transmigration of soul. So is it like kind of like that? We are transmigrating, like that station, like you're transmigrating from, from station
I
to
mean, I
station.
also like to think of this world as like a kind of playground. It's a playground for souls who want to explore what it's like.
Experience.
Yeah, they want to experience living separate from our divine source and our divine guardian from Krishna. So they can play in this playground and then become tired of it. Say, oh, actually, this isn't so fun.
Yeah, you come in old age and you're tired of everything.
I want to go home.
Yeah. You're not into anything when you get old.
But does it require knowledge? You know, like, for example, the person is tired of this world, right? But what if it doesn't have knowledge? You know, how to change the situation? It will just get another body and do
Yes,
the
of
same. Do the
course.
same.
Sure. I'm half joking. Of course, it requires knowledge. And another factor is that everything depends on your consciousness. So an enlightened being, they won't feel any trouble in this world. They will see the divine everywhere. That is another factor. Once we have connected with the divine consciousness, we will see divinity everywhere. Once someone has awakened in divine love for Krishna, for God, then they will see at Premanjana Chita Bhakti Vilochanena, right? It's from a Samhita verse, right? They're through those eyes of love. They're seeing the beauty of God, the light of God everywhere. So that's another factor. Right?
I have a question. Okay, the best thing you can do in this world to help somebody is to help them out. So is there any value in doing mundane work to help someone probably medically?
I didn't get the question.
No, the best thing you can do to help someone in this world is to get them out of this world.
There's no medicine.
So is there any value at all in like building hospitals and doing mundane relief work? If there's an earthquake helping the people, or are we going to tell them to turn Hare Krishna?
Well, I suppose it just depends what your perspective is, right? For example, if you're helping someone with their physical body with the vision that with that body they can cultivate spiritual consciousness, right? Or you're feeding them so they can keep their bodies fit and healthy so that they can pursue their spiritual, goals, then that's something different, right? It's not that the vision is that, taking care of this body is the be all and end all, right? It's a different vision. But I would say our main, there are many people doing philanthropic work, and we want to give our attention to the root of the problem. That is where we would put most of our energy. Right? But I would say it depends upon every individual. Some person it may be a part of their duty in society, like a doctor, for example. That may be somebody's job in this world to save lives, and that's a there's the human duty, and then there's the spiritual duty. There's those two layers of duty. So I would say it depends upon your perspective. But generally speaking, our goal, our main focus is on giving them the spiritual food. Right? Because that is really solving the very root of the problem, isn't it? Everything else is to do with the symptom.
When the Lord spoke about the need of to get knowledge in order to overcome, I would say actually modern knowledge we need is sincerity. We come to the stage of sincerity to understand that, and to be humble, to understand there is higher forces that is much more behind of our control. Because the tendency of us, we want to be, like you said, all of us, we want to be the king. But if everybody wants to be the king, it will be chaotic. Right, in the world. But actually, all of us, we are trying to be the king of this world. To control, to manipulate, to have all the enjoyment of this world. So, to come to the stage of liberation, we have to become humble and sincere. Because we can see, like the gopis in Vrindavan, they didn't have no knowledge, but they had affection, the love for Krishna, right? They didn't have no knowledge. Even there was, even the defeat, the knowledge of the pandits at one point. So
that's also true. It is an automatic movement, actually. If our heart is clean and sincere enough, it will be automatic attraction.
yeah, when this attitude is there in the heart of the person, Krishna will reveal the truth to them, automatically. There's this verse in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham Satatam Yutanam Pashatam Kutipupavakam. When we worship the Supreme Being with love and affection, then He will give us the intelligence to come, which we can go to the spiritual world.
Yes, that's true. Should we have some more kirtan now? What do you think?
Okay.
It'll be good, yeah. Then will you lead us, Prabhu?
Yeah, but I suggest maybe we don't use the